Yo, what's up, guys? So this is a little add-on to my video yesterday, real quick, and because I forgot to make this point, I forgot to make the point that I'm not making this point. Like Tony Gilroy already made this point, but I'm just agreeing with it. That yeah, like, and a few other points too. Yeah, you're like that's one thing a agent or your reps or what your team whatever is good for is to like so you don't have to have your ear to the ground, so like they do that, you know what I mean, and so so you're just focused on trying to figure out like what do I want to say, really. I mean, that's what you're trying to do, and and I also want to make the point that writers, 1 second. By the way, see, I'm not always wearing the same thing. Let me make that point real quick. See, I have multiple of this shit. I find something I like, I'm like, give me like 5 of them. Okay, so that point's out of the way. Now we can continue. Um, see, um, so yeah, like you're fucking start my thing. Sorry. There we go. I think I burned like 2 minutes maybe. But that's one of the things that your agent is good for is like keeping their ear to the ground and stopping you. Like if it's like what about this? Like a volcano explodes in LA. I'm using like a example that a lot of people know. Like explodes in the olden days, explodes in LA and blah blah blah, or like no, and they're like no, like David Boxbaum just sold that like 2 days ago. So something else, and you're like, okay, what else should I do? You know, but then I go into that leads me into writers write things for different reasons. The reason I write or have written and I'm still writing, bro. Like, believe it or not, I just don't talk about it what I'm doing. If the only way you'll hear about it is if like, oh shit, like Jason's in the trades. What the fuck? Like he actually fucking finally pulled something off. That's the only way. I'll never say anything about it. Before like good news coming out. Like no, I'm in the works. No, but writers write for different reasons. I want to make that point too, and I don't want to forget what Danny said too, because I think I want to explain that a little bit too. Um, Writers write for different reasons. Like my reason. It's like there's different types of writers. Is the point I'm trying to make. Like you know, I write kind of from the standpoint of I've experienced like some crazy shit in my life. My life has been fucked up, and then I just talk about shit like that. In my scripts. Meaning, the flip side is like some writers are like, and I've had a writer tell me this, like for me, my life growing up was fucking crazy, man. Glam versus grit, and that's why I write that kind of stuff. There's always that element in what I've written. I'm not trying to talk about myself. See right here, or there's other writers like writer. A friend of mine said, like nothing really crazy happened in my life. I just grew up in Sherman Oaks, and it was just kind of like just totally cool. Like and some writers like that will write fantasy, or sci-fi or fantasy or stuff more like that, versus like dark, gritty drama, this kind of stuff. I'm on that side. Other writers are like, I don't really write anything like that. I write fantasy, like meaning probably a lot of my shit was so far has been like just trying to like deal with it and understand it and analyze it and this kind of stuff. You know, in other words, like I don't really no, I don't write for that reason. Like I write because you know I'm creating these worlds that don't exist and fantasy and whatever the fuck else. You know, like to escape like to like a nice place and you're off over here right writing like fucked up shit. See how different we you know like two different writers are. So I think that's something to understand is like writers write for different reasons. Let me go here now. I think something funny would be if reps. Here's a game to play. I should have said this in the beginning because maybe everybody tuned out at this point. I don't know, but if reps, if they here's a game reps could play is write a short story. And I say this because I've had an agent come into my house and be like, I could be a writer if I wanted to be, man. And I'm like, could you though? You know? So write a short story and then ask everybody you rep, all these badass writers, say, hey, will you give me notes on this? Like I wrote a short story over the Christmas holidays or something. Take the Christmas holidays, write a little fucking short story, you know, knowing that your clients are going to read this and grade you and give you notes. And like, you know, if you know, if my rep came to me like that, I would be like, do you want like cute notes? Like, do you want me to just like be cute about it? Like, I can tell you that. Like, that's cute. That's cute. It's a cute story. You want me to tell you that? Or do you want like real notes? You want me to shred it like that? Like for real notes? Or, you know, and if they're like, yeah, no, I want real fucking notes. Okay, like let me fucking put my glasses on and put it under the microscope and really fucking like go for it. No problem. And then you'll get different notes from every single one of your clients, and you can't argue that they don't know what they're talking about because you signed them. Okay, so and here's all your notes, and then go figure it out. And you're gonna get all those notes back and be like, these are all fucking different. You know, like which one's right? See, now you know what your clients feel like. That's the point of that exercise. Now you know what your clients feel like when they go out there and they get all fucking conflicting notes like, I can't make this all work. This Frankenstein fucking script, you know? So boom, there you go. So now you know what your client feels like. For real, in real life. What's the other thing I was gonna say? Danny Mattis made a good point the other day, talking about, because I mentioned being like, I said like artists are fucking obsessed with art, which I think they are. But that comment of mine could come off, and I think maybe that's the way he took it a little bit, like obsessed with the industry. That's not what I was saying. You know, obsessed with the industry, like to me, that's kind of like a little kid like concern. Like meaning like, how do I break in? Like, oh my, like how, like I want to, like I'm reading the trades, like I'm trying to figure out like what's gonna please them. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like you're thinking of art a lot and you're constantly inspired. You know, you take a walk and then you're like, you see someone standing there and you're just like, oh, well, I wonder what the fuck that guy is dealing with, you know? And then it inspires a whole fucking thought about like, maybe that's a movie, you know, like shit like this. Or, you know, I come from the music world, so I'll hear music in my fucking dreams and then fucking write it, you know? I'm talking about obsessed with the creative parts. Um, I think artists. It's just my. I don't know because I have my brain. That's the only one I got. So, um, I think artists are just constantly sort of obsessed with creation. What am I going to do next? It's like you finish something, and it's like you're never kind of done. You know what I mean? Like it's like okay, like this is the one. Like I'm guessing. It's like the shit I've created. I kind of feel like this is going to be the thing. No matter what it is, music, writing, art. Every time I step into the studio, so to speak, I'm like, now I'm going to create the thing I've been trying to say this whole time. And I never fucking pull it off. Um, you know, which leads me to, so no, I was not talking about being obsessed with the industry and like that kind of stuff. No, no, no. I'm talking about being obsessed with like the artistry and always trying to outdo yourself. It's like, see, I want to make that point real quick. Like your only competition is yourself, really. Obviously you got to try to sell this shit, but that's really your only competition is outdoing yourself every time. And I don't even think it's about getting like better. Like let me try to get better. Like what is that? Like no, you're trying to get clarity on what you're trying to say. You know, through whatever your particular artistic medium of choice that day is. Um, and then at a certain point, I suppose you just have a body of work, and you're like, I guess that maybe speaks for what I was trying to say. Um, and maybe I pulled it off, maybe I didn't, and then you're like, nah, I still feel like I have something else to say, you know, artistically. That's what I mean about like the artistic obsession. I mean the artistic obsession, not the obsession with the industry. Who gives a fuck about the industry? You know. And by the way, let me say that every good agent, fantastic agent knows that they know that it's not about me, the agent. They're like, it's about them. Like, I'm super grateful to represent them because these are the fucking badasses, not me, not the fucking agent. Like I'm grateful to rep them, and yes, I am kind of a big shot because look at my client list, my roster. They do feel like that, but at the at the end of the weekend, um, they feel like these are the ones that make the industry go round. You know, everything begins and ends with the fucking screenplay. If we don't, if the industry doesn't have that, then we're kind of fucked. And let me go into AI real quick. I'm just rambling, bro. Um, I tried to make that point the other day, which is like even if it went AI, you still need writers to fucking prompt it. So, the studio's like, we figured out how to get free screenplays. A writer will still be able to prompt AI better than you because they know the fucked up questions to ask it. What about this, though? You see what I'm saying? You can never get away from how do we do this without artists? You can't get away from that. It's not possible. We'll still fucking beat you, bro. Like, just because I have a computer, I could use AI. No, we'll still fuck you up. We'll still come up with better scripts. I'm using AI too, brother, but my prompts are way fucking better. See, that's how it'll still fuck you up. That's what writers think. Anyway, anything else? I think I'm almost done. I was going to say one more thing about this. I know this is super random, all this shit. Um, a writer hit me the other day with big writer back channeled me and said, I'm not going to say who it is, but and said, yeah, Rod Serling's a god. You know, I'm not going to say who the writer is, but I agree. You know, it's like my favorite writer, period, is Rod Serling. And yeah, if I could talk to any writer, say I wouldn't ask him. And this kind of goes into what Mark was saying the other day too. You know, talking to a big writer, you know, you're wasting your time if your question for them is like, how do I break in? Like, they don't have time for that. I don't, you know, what are they gonna say to that? I don't fucking know. Like, just do it. What do you mean? Like, just break in, okay? So that's a side point there is like if you have the opportunities to talk to, and I've had a lot of mentors. That's where I'm going with this. I've had a lot of mentors in my life, and I'm not going to waste their time with that stuff. You see what I'm saying? Because it just feels like you're just trying to step on their head and just bypass them and use them. That's not why. That's not what I appreciated my mentors for. I appreciated my mentors for teaching me about creativity. You know, also the industry side to some degree, but also more so the creative side and how to sort of like search for what you're trying to say, really. You know, I think that's the major thing, I think. Like, who are you as an artist? You know, that kind of shit. Like, who are you? When you're just, I want to break in and make a sale, and then stop. Easy, buddy. Who the fuck are you as an artist? First of all, before you, I want to get in, but hold on. Before you try to break into the industry, do you know what you're trying to say as an artist? Your brand, you know, like, you know, people use words like that, and it just sounds like, oh, my brand. Like, I guess, no, like who you are as an artist. That's what people will pay attention to. You know, like a Rod Serling, for example. Like, he's one of a kind, man. You know. Sidebar. I used to watch the marathon like every fucking. I'm going super long. Sorry. I used to watch the marathon like every. What was it? 4th of July, maybe. So I've seen every episode at least 15 times. You know what I mean? My favorite writer. I was 5, just like transfixed. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is some heavy shit. I'm 5, dude. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm getting like the subtext at 5. You know what I mean? I'll end there. I think I'm done. I don't know if this is a good video, but I'll end there. Just some other sidebar thoughts I had on that shit. Yeah, if like when you talk to big writers or whatever successful people in the industry, really think about like what's a question that I can ask them that is more complex than just wasting their fucking time with how to break in this, you know, what's your favorite movie, like something better than that, you know, that they haven't heard, you know. A question that's going to stop them and make them think like, no one's asked me that. That's a great question. And you're trying to learn wisdom from them, you know. So what do you really want to know? You know, talking to an agent, talking to a writer, talking to a director. Like, what would you ask Chris Nolan? What would you ask him? Is DiCaprio cool? Like, you know, like shit like this. How do I break in? Would you ask Chris Nolan? Like, you got one question. Here you go, brother. You're up at the mic. Go ahead. Hi, Chris Nolan. How do I break in? Next. You see? Like, don't waste people's fucking time. I'm out. Best of luck out there. Always best of luck out there. And I hope you kill it. And there's so much you can learn now. This is the last thing I'll say. There's so much you can learn now for fucking free, man. That's the other point. Oh, I'm sorry. I have 2 more points. Sorry. See, this should have gone earlier because I know people are going to click out. Maybe I'll do a second video on that. I'll save it. That one will be like 2 minutes because I think it's important to just have it be that. Bye, guys. Peace. Good luck. Kill it.